Good morning. I'm working on that thumbnail so I don't have to keep replacing it. So I'll just smile for a few minutes until, or for, however long it's going to take. I always breathe before I do this. I think breathing is important, like with everything. I want to show my kids that no matter what's going on in the world, I can rise above hate. I can rise above all this. I mean, I got real wild there for a minute. First sad, then angry, then conspiracy, and all that, and that's all I was talking about. I don't want to be that guy anymore. So that can be an addiction too. Sitting there watching videos and then talking about who it might be or who this is or that or whatever. It's sad what happened. It fucked me up for a little bit, and I don't need to take it into another week. What I can do is really take ownership of the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. That's everything. That's already happened. Everything from 10:40 and back, depending on what time it is in your place, I can't change now. The courage to change the things I can. Well, that's everything from this second on. And the wisdom to know the difference. What comes out of my mouth, what my kids hear come out of my mouth is super important. You know, I had all this like residual anger and resentment, and I went into a meeting yesterday hoping that there was some conflict so I could, really take it out on people that want to come and be mean to other people. And I was talking to a friend of mine, and what she said is, you did go in there for the right reasons. Because I wasn't sure if I went in there for the right reasons. No, I didn't want to get into a fight with anybody physically. I just wanted to make sure that, you hear that? Make sure, like, I can control other people. Give me the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. The bottom line is, it was a good meeting, and it may not be the type of meeting that I would normally go to, but I kind of caught wind that some people wanted to disrupt it, and I wanted to be there just in case, as support, But I found myself wanting to go there with pitchfork and torch, bearing two flags. I'm not going to say what two flags they were. And I don't want to live like that anymore. So what I want to do is use that serenity prayer as I move through the week. And just know that, like, as long as I'm kind, as long as I'm honest, willing, and as long as I'm working on my side of the street, everything's going to work out. And as long as I pray to my higher power, God, everything's going to work out for me. And it may not work out the way I want it to work out, but it has. There's been some stuff that didn't work out the way I wanted it to work out, but that was my will taking over, thinking that, like, oh yeah, this is a higher power thing. I can meet somebody and that's higher power. I can try to hold on to them and that's not. To get on a boat and to just go on the boat and let it just float the way it's going to float, because I'm not the captain of the ship, is how I need to live my life. Now, don't get me wrong, if I let go of the steering wheel and say, God, drive the car for me, I'm going to hit that truck next to me. So I do have to steer, but I don't have to steer into other people. I don't have to take my will and say, this is higher power. Plenty of wars have been fought in that way, and I'm not going to start a war, but what I am going to do is start wars within myself, and wars in other people's lives. If I'm creating unmanageability in somebody else's life, that's my will. If I'm there to be available and somebody asks, hey, can you? And I say, sure, I can. And then I do. That's higher power. If I go to somebody and say, no, this is the way, because God sent me? No, that's not what this is about. It's about existing, doing the best thing I can, being the best I can, and understanding if I make a mistake, I own up to it, and then I make amends. And I'm learning the hard way, and the hard way is maybe not the hard way. I always say, like, I gotta learn the hard way. How about I'm just learning the way it's happening? And if it feels hard, it's because I'm like trying to control. I was talking to somebody a while ago, and I tried to convince them that our meat was a higher power thing. It was, for like maybe the first conversation. And then what I started doing was my will. Well, I'm gonna help, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do that. And then of course my feelings got in the way. Now all of a sudden it's, oh, I'm feeling like this because of my higher power. No. It's not what they asked for. They didn't ask for that. They didn't ask for anything, actually. You know, I sat there and was like, I'm helping and help. No. If people ask, then I give. And I mean like my time or whatever. But if they're not, and I give, that's more like my will. And I have to learn that. And so luckily I'm not doing those same things anymore. But I found myself falling into these like trends that, you know, like I want to be, like what am I, political all of a sudden? I got some clean time and now I'm a political voice? No. I'm a freaking crackhead who got clean and's got all your clean. Stop, Rodney. Stop. You know how ridiculous that sounds? Luckily I wasn't posting a bunch of shit. Thank God. Thank God I didn't let my will take over there. So far left in like my brain, not political left. I need to stay on the right side of things for myself, which is give, forgive, acceptance, faith, show my kids that like, hey, there's a bunch of crazy shit going on in the world, and look at Dad, he seems pretty happy. Not Dad seems like a fucking nut job. Which I sounded like one. I was losing sleep over shit that's out of my control. I was losing sleep over videos. Are you kidding me? So luckily, I'm able to call myself out at the beginning of this week, going into work, so I can focus on what's really important. You know what's important in my life? I need to sell cars to make money so I can pay for my kids' shit. And am I gonna sell cars by sounding stupid? Sorry. Am I gonna sell cars by sounding like a fucking nut job? No. Switzerland, motherfucker. I should know better than that. But I don't sometimes. Even though I think I do, I don't. Switzerland. Right? Never heard Switzerland do anything wrong. We don't hear Switzerland on any of it. You know what Switzerland has? Fucking cool knives, and they got fucking, you know, a non-threatening army, I think. I don't know. Never heard of them killing children and shit, you know, like, so stay Switzerland, you know, cool Alps, cool fucking hikes, cool food, like everything's good there. I'm not saying I want to move there, but if I can just act as if my life is Switzerland, I think it would be okay, you know, and I need to be that, you know, because it's all out there for me to go crazy if I want it to be, and it's like a fucking drug, man. If I'm not doing dope, I'm talking to people I shouldn't be talking to, women I shouldn't be talking to. If I'm not doing that, I'm fucking doing some other shit like overeating or overspending. If I'm not doing that, I'm fucking out here conspiracy theorist. If I'm not doing that, I'm fucking trying to cause havoc when I need to be causing peace. It's just, that's, you know, I'm an addict, so that's what I do. I find the one thing that creates dopamine in my life, and I just fucking constantly, I'm like, oh, I want more, and I want more. Listen to me, you know, and I need to like put that under wraps and you know, put it all to bed. I slept well, had a good workout. I brought a healthy option for food today, and I got to connect with, you know, like I cleaned, like I had a friend come over and we cleaned a shit ton out of my garage. That's great. I sewed my cat, like there's the recliner was all, it's been like peeling for so long. I sewed it, so like it looks like back to normal. Like I did a lot of positive things this weekend, you know, a lot of positive things. I went and visited a friend, made dinner, you know, nothing crazy, you know, no stupid shit. You know, yeah, I want to be like the guy that like people are like, man, I can talk to him and he ain't gonna share nothing with nobody, and I can kind of be myself, and he's not gonna make me feel uncomfortable, and he's definitely not gonna try to climb on. That's who I want to be. Like, you know, and I have friends like that. I have friends that don't feel like that about me, and so we connect. And I've cultivated these relationships through NA, learning that, you know, my character defects will come out and fucking cause havoc in people's lives if I let it. All of a sudden they can't say something because they're worried about what I'm gonna think. I don't want to be that. That's not what I set out for this. You know, I wouldn't want that if I was talking to somebody, so I don't want to give that to somebody else. I want my kids to be able to talk to me. I feel like I really was a good father to Malia this weekend. You know, and even though I'm not her real dad, I felt like I was able to connect, talk, and just like, you know, I don't do enough of that with Malia. And I know Malia sometimes feels like an outsider because of it. It's like, these are my kids and then there's Malia. No. You know, I made a commitment to not be that way anymore. You know, and I think I pressed Malia so hard because Malia is so responsible, so smart, and so, you know, very self-reliant, you know, and so I expect a lot. But see, that's not cool to be like, oh, I'm going to treat you harder than I'll treat him because you're, you know, no. All my kids need to be treated like accordingly, but very similar. And that way, when Malia goes out into life, you know, and they're in their 20s, they can call me and say, hey, I'm struggling with this. And I remember that I was struggling with something, and like you came into the room and you helped me, and I didn't feel uncomfortable about it. I was given these kids, you know, by God, my higher power. I believe that. Whether somebody else believes that or not, that's fine. They can go biology, they can do whatever. I was given these kids to me by my higher power, God. And what I do with them is up to me. And I can listen and let my higher power direct me, but it's up to me. And I've done a good job, you know. They saw me all fucked up, and they see me picking myself up better now than ever, right? But I can still continue to do better. Kaizen, continuous improvement. I need to treat Kaizen, that needs to be the forefront of my whole life, not just, you know, my recovery, not just my body. It needs to be the way I am with my children. It needs to be the way I am with people. It needs to be the way I am as a whole. Continuous improvement. And when I think that I'm at that point, the mountaintop, I have to remember that, like, there is no mountaintop. It's an uphill until I die. If I live my life that way, it's uphill till I die. When I'm physically unable to work out, then I will physically do something else to work out constantly until I die. If I want that dash in between the birth date and my death date to be significant, it can't be like, oh yeah, in 2025, in 2024, he was a good dude, and then by 2030, he wasn't. Constant improvement, continuous. That's by being accepting. That's by gratitude. That's by loving. That's by, when I'm a fucking shithead, call myself out and then make amends. That's by understanding that, like, I have two choices here. I can either be for others by being of service, or I could be for myself. And my self-centeredness my whole life has gotten me to using drugs, you know, messing around with people I shouldn't mess with, being in situations I shouldn't be in, always asking myself, how the fuck did I get myself into this situation? Like, that's a dumb question, really. It's clear. A series of bad things led to a series of middle bad things that led to a series of, like, dark bad things. And so that's where I need to be. I need to stay there and remember Kaizen, and remember that everything is happening the way it's supposed to be happening, and remember that like my higher power has my best interest at heart. And so when I feel a little bit of resistance, or if I feel that things aren't quite going my way, I need to look within. Well, how did it start? What did I do to create that? Anything that I'm losing sleep over is because I did something to create that. Otherwise, I'd sleep like a baby all the time. And I'm never going to sleep like a baby all the time. So I have to constantly see what I'm doing. The days that I sleep really well are the days that I did as best as I could to be a fucking good member of society, a good friend, a good father, you know, a good employee, those things. Now, if I can't sit here like at the end of the day and say, what was I all of those, or was I a fucking douche to somebody else, or a douche to myself? And if I can't, if I just ask those two questions and I really dig, and I'm not getting any sleep, then I realize, oh yeah, I think I shouldn't have said that. Shouldn't have done that. And it starts with like what I'm feeding my brain. What songs am I putting on? What food am I eating? What TV am I watching? What am I reading? What am I watching on my phone? Those are the things that I can control, and if I'm doing that and then I'm fucking obsessing over shit, well, clearly it's because of that. And if I really want to get down to like the weekend distress, if you take away my phone, no distress. Maybe I need to look there. So, long rant. Want to feel better. Feeling better. Good weekend. As a recap. Grateful to be alive. Grateful that I have my clean time under my belt. I mean, I'm sitting here with almost a year and a month. Halfway there. And bills are paid. Good conversation with the landlord. You know, good conversation with good friends. I got a hike coming up this week. A lot of good things happening in my life. And not one of them are I got loaded this weekend and I don't know how to fucking feel. So there's that too. If anything, if all else fails, just remember, don't pick up. Because if you pick up, you reset it. And when you reset it, it's like all this work you got to do all over again. It's fine because you have to, as long as you get an opportunity to reset, it's great. But wouldn't it be nice to like look back and say, well, at least I didn't get loaded yesterday, or at least I didn't get loaded this weekend, you know, because that's a really good fallback. If all else is fucked up, you could just be like, well, at least I didn't get loaded yesterday. At least I'm not high right now. At least I'm not withdrawing right now and paranoid. So yeah, fuck it, all this other shit, but at least I didn't get fucking loaded. That's really a good way to you know, move forward. For me, it has been, at least. So have a good day today, and yeah, have a good day today.